see. Again, yes, red light is blinking, so we're rolling. This is fantastic. Well, hello, friends. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Coming at you today. I have a special guest of mine who we have a few things in common that we're going to talk about. I'm especially interested in having you hear what my guest has to say because she's been working with the Parkinson's population for quite some time now. And, without further ado, just want to introduce my friend and my guest, Lilia Drew. How you doing today, Lilia?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing really well, despite COVID and kind of the strangeness around it. Everything is just great. It really is.
Yeah.
And you're, if I remember right, you're in Florida.
Correct. Yep. I'm in Jupiter, Florida.
Jupiter. Where is Jupiter, Florida?
It is in West Palm Beach.
Oh, so not far from Miami then, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody allocates us with Miami. It's like a good 2-hour drive.
It is,
so,
okay. All
yeah.
right. Yes, well, that's cool. That's cool. Well, first of all, we met through, I don't know how, but maybe somehow through some Facebook things or maybe even Beth a little bit, right? Is it?
Well, yeah, I got certified through, I was already working with people with neurological disorders, and then I saw your program, and I think that I saw your program because we both went to Cal U, so I think maybe through Facebook. A lot of your professors were my professors, like Dr. Brent Bush was one of my professors.
Yeah.
And then I always follow his page, so I think a little through that, and then NASM too, because I know you've interviewed. Like, I'm really good friends with Marty Miller. That's who got me my job.
Oh yeah, I know Marty very well. Yes. Yep.
Right. So I think through that actually.
Yeah, and then actually, it just clicked. You had signed up for I think in March I was going to do my live workshop in Florida near you, and then COVID came, and it's like
my house.
Yeah, and it didn't work out. So you did the online one in June, which thank you for that. So just to tell people a little bit about some other stuff going on here. And I didn't mean to promote my book. I'll just say I have a book that just came out about Parkinson's, but also I have another book that'll come out. I'm not sure exactly when, but Lilia wrote a contribution for it, which is really nice. It's going to be a book about basically inspiring stories of people who battle against Parkinson's. So we have stories coming in from people who live with Parkinson's, caregivers, and then people like you, Lilia, who are working with this population and talking about some things that have inspired you. Because I know that when I do this, I mean, literally on a daily basis, any day I'm with somebody, well, pretty much everybody I work with, I feel this way about, but I'm highly inspired by this spirit of fighting back and really working to improve quality of life. How do you find this to be with you and your work with people with Parkinson's and other neural disorders?
And it's been the best blessing for me. It really has been. I never knew, like, I've been doing this for about 15 years, and had you asked me 15 years ago that I was going to mainly be working with older people, which, as we age, we all, develop something. It is so just inspiring because they just work so hard to achieve their goals and achieve them. And myself, I mean, thankfully I'm 36 years old and I'm healthy, but it's made me so thankful for my health, and waking up every day and just
yeah,
one the other and not have to think about it,
I was talking with a friend of mine in Miami yesterday, a musician friend, and I just said, "Hey man, how's it going?" He's like, "It's fantastic. I woke up today." And I actually think of that myself too, because I woke up today. Well, I get another day to be on this earth. I look at that as a great way to start the day. I love how you said that. That's cool. So let's go back though. You were working country clubs a lot, right? You were in various country clubs working. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
And I've mainly been at one. I started off at Gold's Gym right after college. But I was actually a manager there. And then I realized that I wanted to get in, I liked the personal training side of it. So I did my NASM. I was at one country club shortly for like 6 months maybe. And then our mutual friend Marty
Yes.
got me a job at Frenchman's Creek. And I've just been there ever since. I love it there. The average age is 75. So I think my youngest is, my youngest is 10, and then my oldest is 96, I believe.
Wow.
So average is 70s and 80s for sure.
Right, yeah. I've been by that club too. I didn't go in it. I was in Florida several times in your area. Marty actually took me around to some different places, and then
he probably, because he was there a little bit, so he probably took you there.
Yeah, I can't remember which club I was in. There was only one, but I remember that one. We drove by it. So what was the transition for you? Did you start in the clubs with the intention of just working with the general population of the club? And then how did the Parkinson's come into play for you?
Well, I started at the club only because they were building a new fitness center, and I was promised a lot of business, a lot of clients, which was great. It was an eye opener, let me just tell you, because I thought I was going to work with, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, high intensity workout. They want to lose weight. They walk in, you make them sweat, and they walk out the door. Mm-hmm. And working with, I got it handed to me the very first day, Okay. And you want, and I was a brand new trainer, so you want to do exactly what the book tells you to do, so you want to go through the steps. You want to make somebody do a step up, and all of a sudden, these people are older and they can't do a step up, and I'm like, so you really, I quickly had to learn how to work with what I had. It definitely wasn't NASM book, you foam roll, you do this, you do that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So through there, I just, created my own, business. I became busy fairly quickly. Thankfully, I started in the summer when they were building the club. So I got to, with the help of coworkers and Marty and, people that had been working in this industry for a while with the older population, basically just kind of guided me. And so when season started, I became busy fairly quickly. And my first Parkinson's person was a referral from a massage therapist. Mm-hmm. I trained the massage therapist, on my free time because we were friends. And he was in the middle stages of Parkinson's, where he had started to notice that he couldn't plantar flex. He was having trouble plantar flexing. And that was mainly his thing. And he had noticed that he was losing his balance. And, it was like that beginning stages where he was noticing that he was losing control a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, decided to start working out. He didn't work out. He was just going to the spa. So he was my first.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about for you, but my first was very intimidating. It just, I made it that way myself because I didn't want to hurt him, right? And I didn't want to do any damage. And I didn't know exactly what to do. I just kind of, I had a resource to go to. So my son, because he was in a PhD program, had to do with Parkinson. So he called him up, he directed me, and I found, at least something to start with. But it is interesting, though. I'm glad you said about learning quickly, because what I have found is that a lot of the stuff with NASM, and I love it. I absolutely love the model, right? However, some people just can't do a lot of those things, so you have to modify. And then as you go forward and find more and more and more and more people, it's just right up here, you just know, okay, that's not going to work, so we'll do this. And do you find yourself coming up with, let's say, different assessments or different things to do because it might just be more effective right away?
Oh, all the time. You don't, the NASM or any base, which is a fantastic certification. That's the one that I tell everybody to go to. Yep. And same thing, the reoccurring certification. It's a great program. But, you learn hands-on. That really is the best way to do it. And, if you want to specifically talk about Parkinson's, looking back at my first client, do I think I did a good job with him? Yeah, I did. I gave him confidence. We did our workouts. I didn't hurt him. He got stronger. But knowing what I know now, 10 years later, would I have trained him that same way? I wouldn't have. Does that make sense? I would have had him do things.
Yeah.
I would focus more on, can he do rotation? Can he,
Right.
do two things at once, work his brain a little bit. I would have definitely gone a different route. Again, did I have confidence? 100%, which, going home, made him have a nicer day, because being at the gym and being able to step up, then when he would go home, he had just lost his wife and had to go up the stairs. He had that confidence, but I would have definitely, but yeah, you definitely, and that it doesn't even matter how old somebody is. You can't take the same workout every day because you never know what's going on. You don't know if they slept the night before. You don't know if they went out the night before. You don't know if they just came and fought with their spouse. You don't know if, they ate something or their back is out, or people have issues every day.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's so important to, in my book, I write about this, because I think that it's so important to just ask first, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? How did you sleep last night?
Or not.
They're ready to rock and roll, and then the next time they're not, because maybe their medications didn't kick in as fast as usual or something, and they're not totally on. Just so many different possibilities. So that can change, right? You ever find that that'll change what you have planned for them here to, like, okay, we're plan B or C on the spot.
Something for somebody. Well, I think what works better when you first talk to somebody, and again, this doesn't have to be somebody with Parkinson's, whoever you're training, instead of saying, how are you doing? Because we're accustomed to saying fine, good, so what are you feeling today? What's your day looking like an open-ended question that makes them go into it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your day looking like today? Oh, it was horrible. My boss yelled at me all day. Okay, well, now I'm gonna have to make, if it's, a general workout, and if your boss yelled at you all day, well, I'm going to give you a fun workout. I'm going to pick out the stuff that you like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how to work with somebody according to learning how to move. I always tell somebody, when you ask about assessments, your first day with the client, you do the general assessment. But in all honesty, I always tell somebody, I'm just going to give you a regular workout to get to see how you're moving. So today's workout isn't really going to look like what the future could, because I don't know you and you don't know me, so once you learn how somebody moves, then you can create a workout every day. Especially somebody with Parkinson's, like you said, the medication may not have kicked in, if you don't have the same consistent time with them, because your workout is important to them, but they have a million other things in their lives. So they may not be able to come consistently at 2:00 in the afternoon. So maybe if on an earlier day, you're training them and consistently their medication hasn't kicked in, well, you do different things that day as opposed to, the later.
Yeah. There's a lot to that too. I mean, if you think, if they're not moving as well and you try to do the regular stuff and they can't do it as well, and then that kind of creates anxiety and depression, or raises, increases fall risk. So we don't want to have like an injury or anything, but there's an area that I know that you know what I'm talking about here, but I want to hear from you, your experiences ever with what I call, and I'm a late bloomer, man. I'm a slow learner. When I finally learn stuff, I'm good. But it took me a long time to realize that I was going to say the most important, but one of the most important things is having them do something maybe that could be a challenge, but when they do it, they feel empowered. Like, empowerment right off the bat can change the whole hour you're with them, or however long it is. What's your experience with this?
I think that's the best part of the session, right? When you find something, and especially if it's something challenging, I mean, you definitely have to pay attention, again, to how somebody moves, because you can see somebody and they can walk, they can play tennis, they can play golf, and then you have them put one foot in front of the other and they can't balance.
Yeah.
again, that doesn't have to be with Parkinson's. That you can take a 40-year-old and tell him to stand on one foot and he can't do it. You know, and then realize, oh my God, I can't do this. You know, why can I do all these other things and then I can't, you know, do the simple things. So I think what's really important is when you work with someone, I'd rather start with something easy and have them do it and then give them something hard than with something really hard, even if it looks like a cool exercise, and then have them not be able to do it and get frustrated, because then they shut down and then they walk out angry and sad, you know, because they think that you thought they could do it. But if you're giving them something that is unachievable, you never were paying attention to their capabilities.
Exactly, yeah.
Does that make sense? So I think, yeah, starting off with an easy exercise. Like, I'd rather tell somebody put one foot in front of the other and they're like, really, that's it? Okay, good, you can do that. That's amazing. Okay, well, now we're going to go into single leg balance, you know, or single leg balance reach. And then they realize they can't do it. So then you work on that. You know, it's exciting because they can see that they can do a lot of things, you know. So instead of going, oh my God, I can't do a single leg reach, which is a hard exercise anyways, they go, oh, okay, well, I can stand one foot in front of the other. I can stand on one foot. I can do a single leg scaption. Okay, I can't do a single leg reach, so let me work on that. Does that make, you kind of like built them up? It's almost like I'm a little bit, and now it makes sense why they can't do it. And now they're excited to work on it.
Totally, I agree 100%. It's that moment of, it's interesting too because of personality type. So you'll have the ones who are always like, there are a couple of people I work with, and I love them, they're great, but they're always like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. But I mean, I know they can because I just know based on years working with them in some cases. Right. They do it. Come on, just try it. It's okay. I'm right here with you. Don't worry. It's okay. And they do it. And then they're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Then there's the ones who go for anything. And they don't care what you throw at them, which of course you got to be careful, right? Because you don't want to like have them falling over or anything, but
they're the ones that you give them an extra, make it harder. They're like, no, I'm telling you to regress, you know? Yeah.
Right. Totally. So, do you have any favorite stories, let's say, of something that someone has achieved with you at some point in time during their training that just was like, oh my gosh, and it made you feel that feeling we get of gratification, like, this is why I'm doing this?
You know, yes. And like it's a reoccurring thing, especially when you work with people that are elderly. So again, even if they have, or, you know, with Parkinson's, a lot of times, you know, they wake up stiff, rigidity. So through the workout, they become more limber, you know, you get them moving. And, you know, if they tell you it's like, I almost don't want to give specific examples because I don't want to share, you know, like,
that's fine.
You know, what I, but a general example would be if you, they'd be like, you know, I'm really pissed off because I'm having a really hard time reaching, you know, I can't reach him. My arm just, you know, goes like that. Okay, not a problem. So, you know, and you put him through a workout, but, you know, in your head, you're going, has full range of motion. He just can't reach right now, you know. So you do little things, take a foam roller, make him walk like this, you know, even you can even see how tight I am right now, you know. And you just make him, but you in your head you focus, okay, I'm gonna make him move in every angle so that he gains that range of motion. And at the end of the session you go, hey, you want to reach that plate for me, and they reach it. And then it's like they always when they just turn around, they look at you and their eyes light up. Yeah. You know, you just want to, I mean, you can't hug anybody right now, but it's like, I always just want to like jump and hug them, you know, because they did it and they realize that they haven't lost control of something that was important to them. Yeah.
You know, what's interesting is I just had a side thought here is Russ Parker, who teaches with me, is a trainer in ASM. He's also,
he's the dance guy, right?
Yeah. And he lives with Parkinson's, right? And he actually put a little thing in the book. I think it might be I don't know, chapter 8, but whatever. It's about exercise snacking. So he takes like little doses of exercise. He'll take a daily thing that he does. And what made me think of this is reaching up for a plate. He'll actually be reaching up with a literal plate that he just washed, putting his plates away and turn it into an exercise. Of course, he's always over the top with stuff, but I love it. He'll do it, single leg. He'll do it while he's scratching his head or something.
Right.
And that it's really cool when people get that sense of empowerment and they realize they can do things that they didn't think they could. And then they take it to another level on their own, which doesn't always happen because, lack of dopamine, lack of motivation a lot of times, but sometimes that goes into personality type too, though, as to whether or not they're going to, after they leave you, keep working on stuff. But it's,
But I never thought of it as exercise snacking, but a thing that has worked for a lot of my people is, again, they think, first of all, they're stiff to begin with, especially with the Parkinson's. And then think of your daily day, and that's all of us, especially now that we can't do anything in this pandemic. All you do is you stand and you walk, and then you sit again, and then you stand and you walk. So it's just that forward motion. So of course you're feeling like your back hurts and your hips are tight. You haven't. So I have them. I'm like, you know what? Just stand up when you're in the kitchen grabbing a toast. Just move your hips side to side. Do the leg swings and just do it every time you're standing, every time you're snacking. And the ones that do it, they're like, it's amazing how I don't feel tight anymore. I'm like, well, yeah, because you moved.
Yeah.
And It had nothing to do with the Parkinson's. It's just, your back doesn't hurt or you're not stiff. Yes, you're stiffer than the general population because of your Parkinson's, but the general population, if they did the same thing you did, would be stiff also,
Mm-hmm.
So it's not,
right. Yep. It's really powerful stuff. The more I do this too, the more I realize how complicated it can be for some people. There's a lot going on with Parkinson's and other, neurological disorders. There could just be so much going on. It's, and another thing I was thinking is how you especially, and I work on this myself too, but you listen, you watch, so you're very observant, you're communicating with them, you're getting constant feedback. But that's why they call us personal trainers, right? Because it's personalized. It's not cookie cutter. And then we do have the OPT model. That essentially is a cookie cutter. However, there's a lot of room within it to do stuff, but sometimes you just got to get out of that, which you do, because you have to. And that's the personal side of things. And I think it's so important to do how you do this. How you approach people, how you watch, listen, observe. It's really impressive. You do great work.
Yeah. I've had said as feeling out something because really the reason that you want them working out isn't so that they can curl a 20-pound dumbbell. Yeah, is that cool? Absolutely. And if they can do it and they want to do it, 100% will do it. However, it's really more important so that they can go on and live their daily lives and they can go to dinner, So let's say they say, I no longer go to this restaurant because I have to go up the stairs. Okay, well then that sounds like we're going to work on stair stepping for a while.
Yeah.
And they come back and they're like, Lily, I went to the mall and I didn't take the escalator. I took the stairs and I had no problem. How, first of all, it makes you love your job so much, but it makes them feel good. Then they look forward to going to the mall with their kids, because they no longer have to take that long route to get to the escalator. They can just go up the stairs, Or if they have trouble getting out of a car. Oh, you know what? I have trouble getting out of a car. Okay, it sounds like we're going to do some sit to stands for a long time until you can get out of that car.
Mm-hmm.
So taking what they're having challenges with in their normal life into their workouts. So you're following the NASM model, I guess, but you're really tweaking it according to what they need.
Yeah. Training for daily activity, like goals. Goals can be. We set it up. I set it up so that, like, say, what are your challenges? Let's pick the top 2 you want to work on, or maybe the top 3. Let's just train for those. And like you say, it's different for everyone, but getting out of a car, yeah, definitely. Getting out of bed, going upstairs. a lot of different things, training to have them live a better quality of life. Everything needs to transfer out the door into their life to make that better for them. But it's cool because the ripple effect is pretty deep, or at least it can be. Caregiver might get a break,
Yeah.
or if they don't get a break because maybe they weren't having to do that much, they're still thinking, oh wow, you know, he or she feels better, so I feel better.
Right.
Kids, family, friends, co-workers, that ripple can go pretty deep.
I think if you ask, sometimes if you ask somebody, what do you want to work on? They go, I don't know, you know, shouldn't you? But if you, through the session, especially the more you work with somebody, I mean, I'm lucky that I've had some people for like 12 years, you know, so you really get to know them. But through this session, first of all, I'm a talker. So I always talk. I think it makes exercise go by quicker, you know.
Me too.
But ask them yesterday, where'd you go to dinner? Where did you buy that shirt? I mean, do I really care what they ate? I mean, yeah, I actually do, because I like talking, especially about food. But I also want to know, because as they go, oh, where'd you go for dinner last night? Oh, you know, I went to the Capitol Grill. And I just had trouble because the way their tables are set up, it's hard for me to go and, you know, maneuver around the booths to get to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So they may not know that they have trouble, you know, going around booths, but thinking of their dinner, that's what stood out of their experience at dinner. Okay,
Yeah.
so someone's going to create an obstacle course today, you know, and that's when you have the maneuver. So just kind of and people like to talk about their day anyways. Like, you never know if nobody asks them what they did yesterday. But if you hear what somebody's doing, or now in the pandemic, what'd you do yesterday? Oh, I spent all day doing a puzzle. Okay, it sounds like we're gonna do some range of motion, some posture today. So just kind of figuring out what they do in their lifestyle, because they're not gonna ask them. Because even, and honestly, if you ask me what are 2 goals you want to work on this week, I would be like, I have no idea. But I'm sure if I think about it, by the end of the day, I'm going to figure out that I can do.
My list is usually usually they'll come up with something like you know, you know what's even better is when the caregiver's with them. I try to have that, or the spouse, or you know, first meeting, because a lot of times you get more information from them than the person with you. Well, he has trouble doing this. Oh, okay. Hey, how about we work on that? Yeah. Okay, good. Because I'm always, well, personally, I'm always giving examples, like, you know, challenges you face. Sometimes they know right away, sometimes they don't. So, like, for example, blah, 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 and just try to figure it out. But you know what I love that you just said too, and I guess I kind of think about this, but I didn't think about it the same way. I always love learning new things. That's why I like to talk with people, especially who know what they're doing, like you. Is you mentioned navigating around tables in a restaurant. I don't know why. I never thought of that in a million years. You know, what I think about restaurants is maybe stairs, or maybe they don't want to go because they've got this going on. And so I don't have the vibrating ball here, but
I have mine actually.
hold the ball for 10 minutes and the tremor might go away for a half an hour, you know?
Yeah, I remember you you said this one, right?
Yep, the hypersphere, yes.
Yep. So.
Yeah, and that can be a big game changer if maybe someone drives them to the restaurant and they're holding this on the trip. The tremors a lot of times diminish greatly, and you know that might be enough to get them to go out, because now they're not tremoring as much. They're not just worried about spilling food, right?
Yep.
So,
No, 100%. Yeah.
So what I love that you're doing though is because I'm a talker too. Certain conversations recurring with people based on interests that we have or they have. But when you were asking about when you just talked about that thing with dinner, I love that, because you're kind of digging in and you're wondering how they're doing, what do they do, but you're also listening to what they say, because what they say might give you an idea for something to do during the workout, right?
Yeah.
Like that table thing is a good example. So for people who are listening and watching, do what Lilia does. I just learned that I need to do a better job of that, because I'm not sure I've ever done that intentionally, but I'm going to start doing it intentionally. I don't want to be obvious about it with my people, but but really put in that extra listening ear, because maybe there's some information that'll come to you what you can work on helping them with.
Mhm. Yeah, because again, you're with them an hour and you're 3 hours a week, but there's 23 other more hours a day. You never know, and even not even about what is hard for them physically, but you never know if maybe they're fighting with their kids, or they're worried. Now, a lot of times now there's so much, like, people are stressed. There's some people that haven't seen their kids in 6, 7, 8 months, and they're depressed, and that the depression or stress goes into your physical state. So, it's just, I think, again, you want to train somebody to help them in their daily living, so really, just figuring out what their life looks like when they're not with you. Because, they're not going to want to show up and tell you that, they spent 2 hours crying last night because they missed their grandkids going to school, and that they couldn't sleep, and now they're not drinking water. And again, so if they're not sleeping and they're not drinking water, and maybe they're drinking alcohol, am I going to do certain exercises with them? Well, no, because they're probably dehydrated. They're probably losing range of motion right there, and I'm going to hurt them. So what I had to do a week ago, I am not having them do now, because they're not in that state of mental health, really, which is physical. So I think,
that's what you've said is so everything that you've said, but there's a lot of things I'm listening to, and I think what it'll do is help me to be a little better at articulating things, and maybe a better listener too. I've always thought I'm a very good listener, but you know what? I'm always learning, like literally every day. This is one of the things I love is this. You've said some things that I say, but the way you said them is just so much better. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, this is like really cool. So I really appreciate that too, because I'm learning from you.
Thank you. Well, ditto, right? I got certified through you. But as I guess going back to the first question, because we can talk about this all day, but you don't want to bore people. But that is what is rewarding about working with either people that are older or people that have any type of disorder, is when you realize that you are able to help teach them. It's actually, they're doing it. You're just helping them realize that. So that's really, and I think for me, working with people that have, again, I know you specifically work with Parkinson's, but any disorder, is how bad they want it. Like, they just want it so much more. Like, going up the stairs, again, I'm 36 and I'm healthy. I don't think anything of it, but if that's a challenge for somebody, how thankful am I that I don't have that challenge, And you better believe I'm going to try to stay healthy my whole life so I don't have that challenge, but I've really, they have taught me to be stronger. Does that make sense? So when something is challenging for me, I just think that every day is a challenge for them. To get out of bed is a challenge for some people. To, if somebody has tremors and that makes them not want to go to dinner with friends, I mean, they work so hard to be able to do what is normal to me. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. I'm with you on that too. I think of that every day, really. But I think my biggest, not to talk about me, but I will just bring one thing up, because this is a really big paradigm shift for me a few years ago. There's a lady I went to see who since passed away, but she had multiple system atrophy, MSA. It's I guess you could call it a really nasty cousin to Parkinson's, but it's a horribly debilitating disease. So I get to her house. Here's a lady who, there's no way with assistance, unless you have a Hoyer lift, does she ever be able to stand up. There's no way she's going to be able to do just about like anything normal ever, like eating. She couldn't do any of that. And as I worked with her for a period of about 2.5 years, it got to the point where she couldn't talk at all anymore. And but what happened though is she still would buy sessions of like 10 or 20 sessions, and she was fighting even when she lost. There was a point where, not to sound morbid or anything, but it would be sometimes where her eyes would close, and I thought she fell asleep. And then I would say something funny, and she would like laugh. And well, her daughter came over and said, no, no, you know what? We just realized the muscles in her eyes that you can't, so you just need to do this. She's awake, but she can't raise her eyelids. She can't even raise her eyelids.
Right.
She'd give anything to be able to walk one more time, and she
Yeah.
never will. And again, she passed away. But the inspiration there was, this lady's fighting with everything she's got from her bed. We did bed workouts sometimes, or a wheelchair, and she didn't give up. She didn't give up till the very end. In fact, she never did give up at all. She just unfortunately passed away. And that to me really put things in a different perspective as to how lucky I am.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
It changed everything for me.
I think also it's really interesting to see how as you through your certification, a lot with Parkinson's is the brain. And I feel that you really do see how powerful the mind is. And it really is mind over matter, mind over body, mind over muscle. It's almost, you ever see those athletes that, like a triathlete that has one arm, or.
Yeah.
I mean, your body is amazing. Yeah. Body will teach you to do what you need to do. It's called neuroplasticity, in order to achieve your goals, so they teach themselves to swim with one arm without going in the circle. Do you know what I mean? They teach themselves to go bike, with one arm. And if you've ever tied your arm and try to ride a bike, you're gonna fall. There's a lot of balance, but your brain teaches your body to compensate. Basically, your body is compensating. So when you're working with somebody with Parkinson's, and you can see the determination in their eyes, like when they want it so bad. And it's incredible when they do it, because I honestly believe that it's a lot of times how bad they want it, because you will sit. Sometimes I even have, like, they want it, and then sometimes they try so hard and they get frustrated. So that's when I always say, you know what, let's do something else and we'll come back to it. Get your mind off of it. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, anesthesia will get worse. Mm-hmm. So, you know what, if right now the step up, we've worked on this for 10 minutes and now your dyskinesia is starting, let's go do something else. Let's go do some sidewalks and, spell backwards something. Switch your brain around. Yeah. A lot of times come back and they're calm, and now they can do what they couldn't do 5 minutes ago. But to see the determination, I honestly believe that the brain is incredible. It just really is. And I know research is hard to do, but it really is mind over matter. I think 50%. I understand it, but so it's harder for them to get to their goal, but they want it so bad that honestly, I think a lot of times my clients with Parkinson's or other disorders achieve their goals more than my healthy ones. Because for my healthy ones, it doesn't mean anything. They can't step up. They don't care.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
powerful, isn't it?
It's made me, So I guess what I love about my job and what we do is it's made me really thankful, for literally taking one step in front of the other, for having all my limbs, for having, I think I have a brain. My husband may say differently, but also how bad they want it, and you can translate that in anything in life. So it's really cool to see how the brain works. Really, it really is.
It's just super powerful. I'll send you a link to something I think you're really going to like. There's a guy I just discovered through my son turned me onto this, talking about the power of the brain, but talks about it in a different way. His name is Dr. Andrew Huberman from Stanford. He's been interviewed countless times. I'm trying to get with him too, but he hasn't written any books, but he's all over YouTube. If you put in his name, you would love it, because it talks about this power of determination the power of changing your determination from maybe not so determined to being determined, the power of actually creating happiness, the power of creating just getting yourself to do stuff that you never thought you could do because of whatever reasons. Maybe you don't feel you're worthy or you don't feel you're capable. But like you say, the brain, it's so fascinating to me. I'm every day reading about it. You mentioned something else that's really interesting, how bad people want it. And you know, I don't know how deep this area goes for the people who do or don't want it and what's going on in their brains. But I know what you mean by this too, because some don't want it as bad as others, even if they are diagnosed with something. It's like they just feel this is the beginning of the end. While others, there's a guy, John Carmichael, and I don't have my book with me. His name is, he's in Alabama. He got moving because he got diagnosed with Parkinson's. So he wasn't doing anything until then. All of a sudden now he's doing like these triathlons and his 100th century bicycle rides. And
Oh, that's so cool.
I interviewed him a couple years ago. He's a beast. But you know, some people, they get diagnosed and then they don't do much because however it's working in them. Others like him get diagnosed, loses 40 pounds. He's like doing stuff. He's doing stuff I can't do because he's a total beast. I mean, I can do it. I just need to actually get in shape to do it. I want to go there and do something with him at some point. But it's really that is an interesting side of this whole business too, is the drive that people have or not.
Right. Well, I think when you get diagnosed with something, you know, any type of disorder, your life, it becomes tangible, you know. So maybe he never thought about where his life was going to be in 10 20 years, and when he got diagnosed, he was going, oh my, and I don't know this person, I'm just assuming, you know, maybe he thought, wow, life is going to be a challenge, so I better get as healthy as I can now.
Yeah.
You don't want to start at a -20 because you know you're going to get there anyways. But
yeah, he actually wrote a story in the book that you have, John Carmichael. Really just so cool. So the other thing too is I find is, you know, we're all humans. We all have a limbic system, emotions. We all have a brain. We all have nervous systems. We all have, you know, we're humans first. But I'm finding that as I get more, probably the past 4 years, 4 or 5 years ago, I started to work with people other than Parkinson's. And now I think I have more people with MS than I do with Parkinson's. A couple with very rare form of MS called PPMS. But no matter what, Charcot-Marie tooth disease, multiple system atrophy, generalized dystonia. And that guy last week, he has generalized dystonia. He's on the triple trampoline I have, just bouncing like crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that guy is a beast. He's hiking in Nepal next year if COVID allows travel to there. But anyways, bottom line is the approaches that we use. Do you find that it kind of applies straight across the board because we're humans first? I mean, we have to. It's personal training. We personalize for people, but MS, Parkinson's, ataxia, whatever. How do you go in and approach each of these? Is this?
Well, you're not training the disorder, you're training the human being, you know? So,
I need to say that. That's why I asked. Thank you for that. I wanted you to say that and not me say it. Thank you.
When somebody's diagnosed with something, they don't want you to think of Joe with the Parkinson's or Linda with the MS. You know, they're a human being. And I think that it goes back a little bit with how amazing the brain is, because I actually feel like my people with any type of disorder, you know, whether it's Parkinson's or MS, honestly, those are the ones that achieve more of their goals. It really is, because they just want it more.
Yeah, I find that too.
Nobody wants to be known as, you know, as their disorder, because that's not who they are, and that's not who
exactly
at all.
You I mean, you really get this stuff. So I just so inspired by you. I'm proud of you for who you are and what you do. Grateful to know you. And the other thing too is, you know, like you say, it's not who they are. MS, Parkinson's, whatever, cancer, it doesn't define anyone. It's just
Right.
they
100%.
live with it. So person first. So let me ask you this: do you have what's on your agenda for? We did, by the way, we never talked for watchers, listeners about anything we're going to talk about. We knew we'd have a conversation that would be fun because of a lot of the work we do is similar. But I want to ask you a couple questions. Number one, in the future, do you have any type of projects you're working on, you're involved in that you're looking to do?
Actually, when you asked me, a couple of my clients that I've worked with for a while started a foundation, a nonprofit foundation called the Mind Music Movement Foundation. Actually, the website is mindmusicmovement.org.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's specific for neurological disorders, but really for anybody. So obviously I'm doing the fitness side of it. We have great instructors. We're doing a lot of live classes. And again, it could be, the foundation is to benefit people with neurological disorders. However, the classes themselves can be for anybody. We
Right.
have yoga, balance. I do balance and stability mostly. But there's also a music side of it.
Yeah.
There's also a mental health side of it. So it's just a really overall well-rounded foundation, because again, the body is health isn't just exercise and eat your macros or whatever diet
Yeah,
you're
right,
on
right.
these days.
That's Beth and
It
Steve,
really
right?
is. What's that?
That's Beth and Steve. Beth
Yeah.
and Steve
Yeah.
Elgort. Yeah, actually, so I'm happy to say that I'm on the advisory board for them. We're actually going to talk this week, and
Oh, nice.
it's just nice to be involved because I know that you and I will be involved working on things there, probably some development or whatever. I'm just looking forward to learning more and helping however I can a little bit. I love when I talk with Beth about all this. It's so cool.
Yeah. No, so that's basically it. That's a really cool project. I think sometimes things are a blessing. I mean, I don't like this COVID thing. However, I think the online, I think you're able to really reach people over the internet.
Yeah.
This is to me, so I'm enjoying the learning process. But awareness, of how important exercise is for
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
And again, mental health and just overall well-being. It's your body is it's
Yeah.
there's a lot involved.
I've learned a lot from the COVID crisis. I got to finish my book during it, but I also never did a virtual session
Right.
until because I was thinking about it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm forced into it, and now it's like, this is great.
Yeah, same here. Before March, I had never done an online session, and now I spend most of my day right here.
Yeah, and I'm right here or in the studio, either with a person sometimes or a session in a studio that's just one room.
When my husband comes home and he's like, "Hi, honey," and I'm like, shh.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah. There's a book you may like. I'll just show it to you, and I'll show it to watchers, listeners too. It's so for people listening, you can't see this. It's called The Handbook of Neurologic Music Therapy. What I love about this, as a former musician who went to music school and played thousands of gigs with different things, that was my living for a long time, is I never knew until this book how music can change the brain. Not even just it can create new neural firing patterns. And there's a chapter in there on Parkinson's. It's really cool. I can send you a picture of it if you want, because it's a little pricey. It's like $50. But man, what a great resource.
Yeah, if you could, yeah, send me. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and it's been, you can see it working with your clients. A lot of times you have them do an exercise to the beat of music, how it helps them walk better a lot of times or balance better. But you know what? That's just the brain, period. I think I said this in another podcast that I did. Think of a runner. What do runners do? They listen to music. And what do they listen to? They listen to fast-paced music. Yep. And that's what gets them going. What is their group exercise? What is spinning? Back when spinning was popular. What did you do? You would have your slow song, the hard resistance. You would have your fast. So that's not just Parkinson's. That's just how the brain is. In all
Exactly.
honesty.
Oh, it is totally,
And
yes, 100%.
house, do you like in your house? No, but if you put some music, is it better? 100%.
Yep.
You know, so it's just and I think it goes back to enjoyment. You know, so maybe I think it brings some joy to your brain, so it helps you do the task that maybe may not be so joyful. So if for somebody is the challenge to walk, if you put some music on, it really helps them. I mean, it's incredible when you do it. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's powerful. Well, listen, when I end the recording, just hang on with me. Just a couple questions. But also, before I end the recording, I have one last question, and that is, do you have any words of wisdom, any advice at all in general for anyone in particular, or just in general, just words of wisdom coming from Lilia relative to health, training, or anything you're thinking? I didn't tell you that I was going to ask you this question, but it's something I ask everybody.
I guess you know what, just really, you really can do anything you set your mind to. And I think, you know, success breeds on success. So if you're thankful about the little things, you know, and everybody's different, but if you realize how great the little things are, it really does help you achieve the bigger things. You know, so if you can walk a mile, if you could walk a mile yesterday, you know what, then walk a mile today. And if at the end of the mile you feel good, then, you know, walk another quarter mile. Because then if you walk that extra quarter mile tomorrow, you're going to wake up and you're going to walk a mile and a quarter, you know, because that became easy. So I think just if you know, like right now in this pandemic, does it suck to be indoors all day and not be able to see your loved ones? Yep, 100%. Mm-hmm. However, through technology, we can still see them, you know, mm-hmm. and luckily, if they're healthy, hopefully, you know, so, you know what, maybe that's not that bad. So just being thankful, I guess, for the little things helps achieve the big things.
I can't think of any better advice than that. I mean, I'm sorry I asked you that question. I didn't tell you I was going to ask it, but I also knew you'd have a great answer. And, you know, success does breed on success. It really does. It's powerful. It's empowering. I love it. And you said something earlier. I'm trying to figure out a name for this second book. You said mind over this, mind over that, and mind over muscle. I don't know if a mind over something. I don't know. I have to give you credit, though.
I don't know.
Mind is so powerful, though, right? Well, listen, Lily, I thank you so much for making the time to join me. I know my listeners are going to love this because they just eat this stuff up. What you're doing is fantastic. Keep doing it. Keep inspiring people, helping people. I look forward to working with you, with the foundation, and Beth and Steve. And, you know, at some point I'll actually hop on a plane and come down there too, because I know at some point I'll be able to.
Fantastic.
We'll do stuff like in person, and I know Beth talked about having maybe some type of gathering, or not convention, conference maybe. It would, you know, when we can. Yeah. But we'll get to it. But thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hang on with me for a minute.
I will. Thank you so much. This was fun.
Oh, it's an honor for me. I love what you're doing. And people watching and listening, thank you very much for tuning in. I really learned a lot today. I learned a lot about perspective and listening, and really listening. You know, some of the conversations I have with my people, well, we have the conversations, but there's more I can be conversing about without seeming like I'm trying to dig. And then I just listen to what they say. And the more we can learn, the more we can probably help them better, or better help them. So appreciate that a lot, Lilia. All right, everyone. Thank you again. Have a great day. Take care.